Building a new and smart city of BUEA and Cameroon at large is the topic of today's edition of Excellence Impact on High Television. Hi televiewers, you're welcome to this edition and a happy start of week from this end to you. You're welcome again to another exciting edition where we are going to be discussing so many things that is going to bring growth in our community. And as you know, we usually have our guest, Mr. Musoke Lucas Lyonga, who is the General Coordinator of Excellence Union International Group and a nation builder. It's a pleasure to be with you today on set, Mr. Musoke.
Thank you so much. Thank you, televiewers. It's a pleasure once more to be here, and I just hope that that which we have for you today is going to also help you to gain knowledge and to contribute positively in nation building and to join us as we build our nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I also want to let you know that this program is highly interactive. You can send us a text through normal SMS, through WhatsApp or our Facebook page, because we are also live on Facebook. So you can be part of this program. The aim of this program, and particularly this topic, we are going to be discussing to see how everybody gets involved when it comes to nation building. And like I said from the beginning, our topic is building a new and smart city of BUEA and Cameroon at large. Mr. Musoke, when we look at this topic, I believe our last two editions were talking about building BUEA, making BUEA a smart city, and this time around we are still talking about building BUEA and making it a smart city. I want us to look at it from a different direction, opposite direction, before we come to looking at the factors or what you have in mind. But first, I want us to look at what are those aspects, what are those things, elements that can hinder growth or development in a community.
Yeah, the growth is usually being hindered by bad policies of a nation. If a nation has bad policies, it hinders growth. And one of the bad policy I wish to mention in the Cameroonian system is that, for example, you cannot just get up and tar a road. If you have all the money and you wish to help the government to tar a particular portion of the road, don't refuse. And it's not like that elsewhere. If you wish to contribute to nation building, there are some things that you cannot just get up and do. The government has put restrictions in things which they are not supposed to put restrictions in, because if we are building a nation, then individuals should be able to freely contribute to nation building, and individuals should freely contribute to community development and go ahead with activities. So that is one of the issues. There are some type of policies that are not good policies for nation building and community development. That's bad policy. One of the issues in Cameroon that is also hindering development is corruption. Corruption in the sense that resources are released, resources are made available for certain projects to be carried out, and officials embezzle these resources, and at the end those activities or those projects are not carried out. It also hinders development. Another issue that hinders development is the issue of traditional rulers not being open to developmental ideas. The traditional rulers who are skeptical about certain issues, and because of their skepticism, most of them in some cases are not exposed to realities. So they find good ideas at times as though it's coming to challenge them. So traditional rulers in some communities are a hindrance to community development. Another issue which is a hindrance to community development, and this one is the greatest of all the problems, is the lack of knowledge and ignorance of the community. The community lacks the knowledge and they are ignorant of the realities of issues today. And when things are coming up to their favor, because of ignorance and lack of knowledge of developmental drives, they see it as a threat. And because of lack of knowledge, most communities are not developed, because those who have the knowledge, the few that have the knowledge, are seen as a threat to developmental issues. So such communities that are ignorant of developmental issues are also a problem. Another hindrance, let me say, is the hindrance that is called poverty. Poverty is also one of the greatest hindrances, because poverty is mostly lack of resources in this case and in this sense, because people don't have the resources. People are not able to raise resources to develop their communities and to carry things forward. Poverty is a problem. It's also a big hindrance to community development, because community development requires knowledge and it requires a lot of resources in order to carry out developmental projects and developmental initiatives. That requires a lot of resources to make things that make sense in the 21st century. You don't just go and do things anyhow, like patches of roads, and just play around and play with the mindset of people because you want to have a name. No, we're talking about things that make sense, that can last, things that are sustainable, and which the community will actually approve and appreciate the effort. So poverty is a problem. It's a very big hindrance, which is lack of resources to carry out basic activity, basic projects that can lead to a better lifestyle in some communities. So those are just a few as things that hinders community development. Then in some cases too, community developmental issues are hindered by poor road networks, where it's very difficult to move raw materials around, or materials that are supposed to be used around. It's very difficult to move them around. Bad roads also hinder community development in some communities, not all communities, because this may not apply in all communities that wish to be developed. And there are many other issues, environmental factors and so on, that are there. And also you also have factors that have to do with crisis, conflict, and the rest. Wars also hinder community development. That's why it's not good to have wars and conflicts and crises, because they are actually factors of developmental hindrance in all communities in the world. War hinders this. So maybe I should.
Yeah, thank you very much. You've really outlined those points, and I'm very happy with it. And I want us to dwell on community members, because it's not like, because at times you go to a community, it seems as if nothing is going on there. But I believe that if we want to rate it, I would say 80% of the lack of development or sustainability, like what you mentioned, is due to the ignorance, or how do I put it? Yeah, ignorance and carelessness of the community members, because most at times they cannot maintain the things that are being put there. For example, if, for example, they construct a borehole, or maybe normal calm water taps, the community members, the way they handle the things, in less than no time it gets bad. Do we expect the government or whosoever did that to come again and do that same thing? So I believe that community members are 80% the cause of lack of growth in their community.
No, in the sense in which what you just mentioned, the problem is not the community people. It is those who have offered those facilities. You know, if you need to instruct people, you need to teach people, you need to let people know. That is why if you wish to give a borehole in a community, for example, the location of the borehole matters a lot. You need to do a good feasibility study. The location of the borehole matters a lot, and you can make an income generating activity linked to that borehole, which will be generating some income, and it will use to maintain the borehole. You know, when you are giving a community a certain facility, also teach them, whereas they don't know. But you who have the knowledge already, make sure that you give the knowledge. If thereafter they cannot maintain or manage what you have given to them, then your hands are clean, because you completed the cycle of what you've done. That way now your hands are clean. You cannot just go and give something and you know that there are some technicalities to make this thing function for a very long time. Then you don't give that technicalities to the people. You don't tell them. You don't instruct them. Then you expect that at the end you come and blame them that they have not. No, finish the cycle. So that even if they wish to ask you tomorrow, say, no, I finished the cycle. I taught them, I showed them what to do, and I gave them other methods in which if they have such problem, this is what they should do. That's one way. Another way is that you accompany the people. You give maybe 1 year, you yourself or your group help to make sure that you run that facility properly for 1 year. Then you now phase it out to the people and you leave. That way now you have also showed them how to manage the facility and how that facility will be managed for that 1 year. You train some people, you make sure that when you leave, they will not have any problem. Some of these things are not done. Some of these things are not put in place. People just give and leave. So how do you expect people? Because we should not assume that people know.
They should know, say. They should.
I said we should not assume.
Ignorance is a crime.
Yes, that's why we are saying that.
They give you a borehole and they should come and teach you how to use the borehole.
No, we are not only talking about borehole.
Use it carefully.
No, we are talking generally, not only boreholes. We are talking generally. When you give people something valuable, generally, complete the cycle. Complete the cycle. When you complete the cycle, you also have a good face, and people will see that you have demonstrated goodwill. It means that you are not just giving them for giving sake, but you are giving them that it should serve them for a long time. That is why you complete the cycle before you allow it to them. You now leave. So that anything that happens tomorrow, you have a clear conscience that you did your job.
I believe that
yes,
this program is also how to educate. The population or the grassroots population should also be responsible. That is what I believe. They should be responsible. A project can be, somebody cannot come and carry out a project in your community, give you that project because maybe you did not spend for it. You just think that you can use it anyhow and it gets bad, and tomorrow you come up and say we don't have facilities. That is what is happening now in our community.
No, you have used a very good word. In community development and nation building, you have used a word, responsibility. Responsibility only comes with knowledge. When you don't have knowledge, you can never be responsible. So you need to have that knowledge, that bundle of knowledge that is linked to that before you can be responsible. There is no responsible person who do not have knowledge in what is supposed to be responsible for. Because there are some things, there are some gifts and donations that have certain technicalities which the people may not have, which the people may not even know about. So responsibility comes with knowledge. When you have knowledge and you are misbehaving, people will be surprised because you have knowledge, and your knowledge now is what will help you to be responsible. So that when you misbehave, people know that you are intentionally misbehaving because you have the knowledge. But don't assume that somebody has the knowledge whereas he does not have the knowledge.
For example, a practical example, the Ministry of Public Health will distribute mosquito nets to the population, to the grassroots smart city, the smart city of BUEA. Let's look at BUEA. What are those things that you want to bring in our town? I'll call it our town, Bakurian. Better born and bred in BUEA.
Yes. First of all, BUEA has the historic advantage more than most of the towns or cities in Cameroon. BUEA is one of those towns and cities in Cameroon. BUEA is one of those towns and cities that is known worldwide. It is in history. It is in the office of the United Nations that BUEA was once the capital of the former British Southern Cameroons. BUEA is known worldwide as a town that has been a capital. Take note, a capital. When you have once been a capital and you are reduced to nothing, that's why we say we wish to rebuild BUEA and give it.
I've told you to always choose your word. You cannot say BUEA has been reduced to nothing. No.
Well, you should ask me to explain what I mean by nothing. Yes. So ask, what do you mean by nothing? I will explain.
Yeah.
What I mean by nothing here is that the status that a capital should have. Look at the world. Look at cities that are capital or that were once capital. For example, Lagos and so on. That were once capital. They have a status that is high. A status that when somebody comes and says, okay, this was the former capital, this is the former capital, it makes sense to them. But when you enter BUEA today,
don't say anything that makes sense.
Let's be honest, it doesn't have the status of a capital.
It does.
It doesn't have the status.
BUEA is one of the fastest growing city in Cameroon. The only fastest growing city in Cameroon.
You should ask. That was said that when you are a journalist, ask the question why I'm saying so.
No, I cannot just.
I will give you one simple example. Just one. BUEA does not have roads. A town like BUEA
does not have roads.
No, I'm talking about BUEA. The reason why we are saying that we need to rebuild BUEA. BUEA was supposed to be linked by tarred roads all through. I mean, tarred roads.
Yes.
It's not a matter of earth roads and jungles. BUEA was supposed to have good tarred roads with excellent drainages that carry water. When rain falls, you don't even see anything moving. That is just one of the aspects. Link all the corners of BUEA with tarred roads. I mean, tarred. That is one characteristic of a capital, of the capital of a nation, the capital of a city. We are saying that a former British Saudi the former, so at least it has once had the word capital. So let's give it the status of a capital in terms of building BUEA back. So all of BUEA is supposed to be tarred, all the city, the corners linked up, so that people can circulate freely. That's just one of the aspects of a characteristics of a capital. If some people go below that, then they don't understand what it means to be a capital.
Okay, talk about road. I know you have so many of
just
them.
One of the yes.
That's just one. You will still continue. Let me come to the road that we are talking about. Normally BUEA is supposed to have roads, like you said. I'm not refusing that aspect, but if you look at BUEA, if you look at the town, maybe the plan that they had before, they constructed roads and maybe they didn't really see into the future. But the population that has come into BUEA now, people have built and they have entered into suburbs. Those areas were not planned to have roads. The population is too much for the town of BUEA. They are struggling to see how they can manage the population, how they